Happy 80th birthday, Papa.
Hey Pop, happy birthday. I'm really happy I got to be here today. And I want to let you know I'm really, really grateful for being a part of this family. And I really love you, and I know everybody else here does too. You mean a lot to us, and that's all I got.
Uncle Butch, happy 80th. Thank you for everything you've done for us, our family, growing up. You've been more than an uncle. You've been like a father to me. I appreciate everything you've always done. Happy birthday, many more. Congratulations.
Hey Howard, again, happy birthday. Louise and I send our best. And thank you for being my daughter's godfather. We do have great memories and good health, longer life. And it's been a pleasure knowing you. Take care. Bye.
Favorite memories include long-ago vacations in Seattle City with Dad and Jeff, who stubbed his toe on the way to the beach every day. Lunches and parties in my mom's garage. Crabbing trips with my many tangled lines. Dad's happy birthday song phone call that makes the day official each year. The way too cheery good morning song that he used to wake us up for school in the morning. Pinochle games. Wiring straw flowers, HMJ gardens, and the groundhog that ate it. Gunning club barbecues, new sights seeing Eye Puppy Club, Dad and Jeff coming to stay with Chris and I in our White Plains condo on their way to Maine and deciding to march through the lobby with shotguns in tow. Picking strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries behind our house on Oak Road. Our many flower and jelly stands out front of that house. The walk down the aisle on my wedding day. The trail of Dad's hats, mostly Air Force, reading glasses and sunglasses that he leaves behind everywhere he goes. Nighttime visits for coffee, watching him be pop-up to my kids, and the list goes on, as does my love for the first man ever to steal my heart. Happy birthday, Dad.
But I have to say happy birthday, Dad. And he did teach me the valuable things to get through life. One, when you get on your deer stand, don't move. Two, when the dogs are running a rabbit, stand still 90% of the time, it'll come back. Three, you always crab with two anchors, so you don't move around. And four, when you have a nice fish on the line, you keep your rod tip up. And as Uncle Fred would attest, don't ever put the net in the water until you're ready to net the fish.
My one or two big things that I've learned from Dad are one's work, one's family. Family's first. Family's first, always for Dad. And that's very, very important. Number two, every day get up, nose to the grindstone, work, be honest, and help those around you. That's it. That's what I do.
My first roller coaster ride, the Runaway Train, a great adventure. I remember that day I was scared to death, but I had my trust in my father was stronger than my fear. And that day my dad taught me he taught me how to face my fear, and he also showed me that some of the best things in life start off pretty scary. Another memory I have of my dad is the swarm of bees. The summer I was working at Jeffrey's Pickle Field, he had a commercial beehive pollinating the plants. And I was in the middle of the field when one of the bees stung me, and I took off and ran throughout the entire field, and Dad and Jeff tell me that it was like a cartoon. There goes me running through the field in a swarm of bees chasing me, and I finally found safety in Dad's truck after getting stung about 30 times. But what I learned from that is two things. One, I am not allergic to bees at all. And two, if given enough time, even the most painful memories can become funny. So thank you for teaching me how to laugh at myself. And the third specific memory was the day of the greenheads, and is memorialized in that picture on Dad's table. We ended up going to the bay for a day in the water, and we got attacked by a swarm of greenheads. So we had to leave, and we spent the entire day trying to find a place to go to swim, and we ended up at Manatico Running Club. And we ended up taking that picture. So what my dad told me that day was that some of our most cherished and special memories can stem from a series of unfortunate events. And so, Dad, I'm going to thank you for waking me up every morning and calling me Redhead Gingerbread, for being at all of my softball games and being my biggest fan, for sending me flowers on Valentine's Day when you knew no one else would be sending them that year. Thank you for the time spent in the garage with the straw flowers and sticking wires in the straw flowers, and for sitting on the back porch being entertained by the bug zapper. Thank you for teaching me how to crab and instilling in me an adventurous spirit and a deep love for the outdoors. I love you. Happy birthday.
So this was my idea to have all the kids talk like in the order we used to open presents, and I'm gonna have a hard time getting through it. So bad idea. So I've had a lot of opportunities to speak to a lot of groups, and people, a lot of times people want to go talk about leadership and about where you came from, what you did. And my parents never really get to hear me speak about that, but when I talk about life and the things that impact and affect who you are, I always talk about my mom and dad. And today, talking about Dad, a few things that I've learned from Dad, and I think everybody that in here will know, is integrity. Jim mentioned it. I can remember sitting, I think I was already in college, but it was me, Dad, and Jeff, and we went fishing, and Dad and Uncle Fred, you may have been with us, but accidentally Dad had tapped the bumper of a car that was parked next to us when we were pulling out, and you could have taken a microscope and you could not see a thing on that person's car. But by golly, Jeff, how long do you remember? We sat there for like 3 hours until this person came back so that we could tell them that we had hit their car. But that's the kind of integrity that was in our household that I grew up with that has stuck with me my whole life. Second thing that Jim mentioned was the hard work and the work ethic. People go, where does that come from? It comes from the example that you grow up with, and I think we can all agree that we have a father who always worked hard and demonstrated that to us well. Third thing, Mary Jane was gracious with the pictures in there, right? So there weren't any of the really uglier pictures in there. But one thing about Dad, and I've learned this now growing up later as a young woman, the things that your father says to you, the things that your father say to you makes all the difference. And I had a father who always said I was beautiful, who always loved me for who I was. I can remember saying, "Dad, my feet are so big." And he said, "Jennifer, you would look really silly with small feet." And that may seem funny, but the reality is that confidence and being okay with who you are comes from you're the first man in your life, right? That speaks life over you. And for me, that was my dad. And I wouldn't be the person I am. And I speak about this a lot to people, and he never gets to hear it. So I want to make sure that he gets to hear that. And then last but not least, it's just the unconditional love. And I can remember when I went off to college and had struggles all the time. I'd call home. I had friends that would call home, and they'd say, "My parents say I can't come home." And I would call home. My parents would say, "Let us know when you're at the airport. We'll come pick you up. Just call us from Philadelphia. We'll come pick you up." So just that unconditional love. So thought it was really important for us to get up and speak because Dad, we wanted you to hear these things and to know how special you are, how much we love you. So thank you for being you and all the goofy things. Mary Jane really nailed them, and I think I have as many of the birthday songs on my phone today.
Yeah, I
Thank you
see.
for that. And we love you so much, and just so grateful to have been born into this life. Big feet and all. I see a picture of my mom, I know exactly where I come from.
How much my children love their daddy. I know they love me just as much, but he deserves a lot of love, a lot of respect, a lot of care. He needs a lot of care, I should say. But God blessed us when he sent Howard to this family. And God more than blessed me and James when he sent him into our lives, because we wouldn't be where we are today without his support, without his always saying the same thing. You can do it. Be honest. Be sincere. Don't ever be deceitful. His moral values are superior to anyone I know. Most of you know we go to Mass every morning at 8:15. After Mass, we go to breakfast, have our little circle of friends there that we meet almost every morning, and everybody knows him. And Mark, Dawn, am I right?
Yes.
Everybody comes up, they'll say good morning, they'll give him a hug. All the ladies in church love him, don't they? He used to go to Sacred Heart without me, and all the ladies there loved him. They watched after him and if he wasn't there, they wanted to know why. Is Mr. Hammerstead okay? Is he all right? Not many people anymore know him as Butch. Probably just this room, but everybody else knows him as Howard. He's been a sincere friend to Fred ever since they were little boys. Janet has added to that relationship by being so gracious to let them enjoy their lives together. And as a wife, that's a hard thing to do when you have a whole family to run. But without being too sentimental, I have to just say how thankful I am, not only to God, but to everyone in this room and every person that has ever entered our lives, for all of your support through everything that we've been through. Heart problems, brain problems, whatever you want to call it, we've had it. And we've dealt with it only because we've had the support of our children, our friends, our neighbors, our best friends, people we don't even know. Doctors who said to me the last time, "Aren't you Mr. Hammerstead's wife?" And I said, "Yes," through my whatever. "Well, you're not the one that's supposed to be in this bed. He's always here." So even people that have just vaguely come into our lives remember him because of his kindness and his sincerity and his love of life. So he's my love of life. And yeah, I had to come home from Washington kind of in a hurry this week, but it was okay. I was glad to get here and be with him today, and hopefully for another 80 years.
We've been good friends for many, many years.
How long?
I feel very blessed.
Somebody said how long?
How many years?
Somebody wants to
Well,
know.
I'll tell you in a minute. I've been very blessed. I've been very blessed. He's never said a bad word about anybody. Everybody's okay in his book. Okay, except a few politicians here. Anyway, I'm going to tell you how I met Mitch. It was in Reber School. And we were probably 7th or 8th grade, I'm not sure which. And they were having a football team. And so Butch and I decided maybe we'd go out for football. But we weren't really into the sport. We got out of the last period of school. So we did that. And we had to walk from Reber School down to Landis Park. And we did it a few times, and you had to run around. The coach made you run around the whole place. And so after Butch and I got a little tired, we'd stop behind the bleachers. and the rest of the team were running around. And when they went on their fifth lap, almost over, we joined them. Okay? So, and we did that, and then we weren't really, like I say, we weren't into the game, so we weren't very active, though. The coach got us to hold tackling dummies. So that's what we did. So we didn't do a good job at that either, so they got somebody else. So after that, we figured we were all out of school, we start walking down Landis Avenue. So Butch and I would just turn left and go out to the boulevard. We were going home. And we'd hitchhike and get a ride. We figured we had a thing. The coach didn't want us, and the teacher thought we knew we were out on the football field, so nobody missed us. So that's how I met Butch, and that's 65 years ago. And we've been best friends ever since. I got something here. I don't know. I'm going to read this. This doesn't pertain to anybody special, but I found it in a magazine probably 8 or 10 years ago. It's for all people who were born before 1945. We are survivors, okay? It says, we were born before television, before penicillin, before polio shots, frozen food, Xerox, plastics, contact lenses, Frisbees, and the pill. We were before radar, credit cards, split atoms, laser beams, and ballpoint pens. We were before pantyhose, dishwashers, clothes dryers, electric blankets, air conditioners, drip-drop clothes, and before the man walked on the moon. We got married first, then we lived together. How quaint can you be in our time? Closets were for clothes, not for coming out. Bunnies were small rabbits. Rabbits were not Volkswagens. Designer jeans was a screaming girl named G. And having a meaningful relationship meant getting along with our cousin. We thought fast food was what you did during Lent. And outer space was the back of the old Landis Theater. We were before house husbands, gay rights, computer dating, dual careers, and commuter marriages. We were before daycare centers, group therapy, and nursing homes. We never heard of FM radio, tape decks, electronic typewriters, artificial hearts, word processors, yogurt, and guys wearing earrings. For us, time sharing meant togetherness, not computers or condominiums. A chip meant a piece of wood, a hardware meant hardware, and software wasn't even a word. Back then, made in Japan meant junk. And the term making out referred to how you did on your exam. Pizza, McDonald's, and instant coffee were unheard of, and we hit the scene when there were 5 and 10 cent stores where you could actually buy something for a nickel or a dime. Sanders and Wilson's sold ice cream cones for a nickel or a dime, and for a nickel you could ride a streetcar and make a phone call, buy a Pepsi, or enough stamps to mail a letter and 2 postcards. You could buy a new Chevy coupe for $600, but who could afford it? It was a pity because gas was only 11 cents a gallon. In our day, grass was mowed. Coke was a cold drink, and pot was something you cooked in. Rock music was grandma's lullaby, and aides were helpers in the principal's office. We were certainly not before the difference between the sexes was discovered, but we were surely before the sex change. What we made do with what we had, and we were the last generation that was so dumb as to think you needed a husband to have a baby. No wonder we were all so confused and there is such a generation gap today. But we survived. What better to celebrate? That's it. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for coming. It's great to see all these people. It's amazing. All my friends and my co-workers and my relatives, my grandchildren, and all my children. Bonnie and I have been blessed to have our 5 children. Excuse me. And they're all doing so well. All 5 of them are all professional people. They're doing so great. And we have all our grandchildren. And they're all doing really great too. And we've had a lot of experiences over the years. Some good ones, some bad ones. I mean, a lot of times I wasn't around because I was worked a lot of hours. And a lot of times Mom sort of helped me get out of the house. But I was pretty busy, called off a lot of times for overtime. And, but we ran good times. We did some, we had some, went down to shore one time on vacation down to Seattle City, House Inlet, and that was fun. And we had a lot of fun at the house, and we would ate crabs and stuff like that, and we had good times. And of course, we did work too with James and my Jeffrey. They'll tell you how hard I worked on cutting firewood. So we did a lot of that. Because I burned firewood, and they helped me too a lot. The 2 of them, they were with me all the time. And like I say about everybody else, my wife, great, and had a lot of good friends. A lot of good friends here. Jermaine, Eric.
Known you since you've been a little fishing kid. Many moons ago.
So it's been a great time, and it's like I said, some of it I wasn't around a lot of times, but it was great. I don't know what else to say. I want to thank you, everybody. Brother.